Howdy, y'all. Today is Autism Awareness Day. It's Autism Awareness Week. I read on Twitter this morning. Today is Tuesday, the 2nd of April, 2019. I am currently driving home from school. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience having autism, mainly my diagnosis. I haven't really talked about having autism all that much with people I know, just because, mainly just because of how recent it was. Today I'm opening up and talking about my diagnosis today. This person is turning in, and I am never, you know what, I'm just not, I don't know what they're doing. They're not going. Growing up, I always knew that I was different. I always had things about me that were different. I was adopted from Russia, so that definitely made me stand out from everybody. However, I knew that there was something else to it. I knew that I wasn't normal. I knew that all the other kids in school thought I was weird. And you know, my mom always assured to me that I was just really unique and that other kids were jealous of me. I knew that that wasn't the case, because I had no friends. I usually had one friend per year, and by the next school year, they weren't my friends anymore, because I always blamed it on some kind of external factor, like we weren't in the same class next year, or I always just saw them hanging out with other people that I knew didn't like me, so I just avoided them. And even when I tried to reach out, like, they were just like, yeah, we should hang out more, but it just never happened, as much effort as I made to be friends with them. And in middle school, I learned what autism was, because I finally was going to school with a couple kids with autism, and I learned what it was, and I didn't think that I had it. I just generally thought I didn't have autism. I wasn't denying it. I just didn't think I had it. I was also diagnosed with ADHD when I was 13, and we thought, okay, this is why. I can get on medication and I can act like a normal person. And throughout my entire life, I've always tried to act like a normal human being. Whether or not it's worked. Everybody always knew me as super weird, really awkward. And that's why I can't wait to go to college, because that reputation that I have right now will finally be gone. No longer, I will be starting completely new, and people will not know me as the weird girl with autism. Anyways, fast forward to junior year. It was November. My brother started telling us that he thought he was autistic, and he probably is. No, I'm not disagreeing with him on that. But it got me thinking about myself. You know, my brother and I were different in the fields that we're good at, but we're both brilliant in our respective fields. I'm wondering if I've got autism. That might explain why I don't have friends. I did some research and I realized, yeah, I definitely have it. And I told my mom, and it took a long time for her to be convinced that I have it. It actually took 9 months. It took until the following August for her to be convinced that I've got autism. She took me to my doctor, the guy that deals with my ADHD, and he talked to me. I think the appointment was like an hour, and he agreed that I definitely had Asperger's. And I was finally given that diagnosis just in time for my 504 meeting, which was the next day. So yeah, now that I have this diagnosis, I know that it's not an excuse for being weird and occasionally maybe aggressive, just not normal, but it is the reason. And even before I knew what the exact reason was, I've constantly been working to better myself. The problem is I've had trouble doing so because no one tells me when I'm being weird or if I'm being an ass. No one tells me these things. And I wish they did. I wish people had the confidence to tell us if what we are doing, just being ourselves, is offending another person. And then we would stop. My biggest fear is consequence. And I do everything I can to make sure that everyone else around me is okay with what I'm doing. Because I hate hurting people. The thing I hate the most is seeing people hurt. Anyways, that's just a little rant about having Asperger's. Mainly the hardest part about it is just trying to not be bullied for being ourselves and maybe doing things a little bit differently from other people. Because that's the main thing, especially with like Asperger's. The main thing about Asperger's is that we just do things a little different. It's not a big deal. I often, even though like Sheldon Cooper is not a good example for Asperger's, I feel like Sheldon Cooper sometimes. Like I often feel like I am the Sheldon Cooper of my group of friends. I honestly don't have a normal big group of friends that I can always go to. I've never ever had that. I have friends now. I've managed to maintain a best friend longer than a year for the first time in my life. So I think that's something good. What I want to know is what is a good autism community that I can become a part of, because I am not a member of anything right now. I don't participate, I don't donate, I don't volunteer for any of that stuff. I would like to know what I can do, because I still feel I honestly don't feel a part of this community yet, probably just because I haven't been open about having autism. I would just like to know what I can do, if there's anything I can do. Anyways, embrace your autism if you've got it. Embrace it, because that's just another part of you that's unique. But also, and this applies to anybody, whether or not you have autism, don't stop trying to better yourself. It's always okay to try to be a good person. I'll put my Instagram and Twitter below in case you care enough to check that stuff out. If you don't, and you're just gonna click off this video, farewell, and have a great whatever time of day it is.